we're big capitalists, Michelle, and we see the standard of living that can be generated from it, and how can anyone not want that? It's hard for me to imagine. Let's go. Come into the 21st century. Let's go.
Sure. I think the internal calculus for Kim Jong-un is what keeps him in power. And so the question you have to ask is, does he think that by improving the economy, that keeps him in power longer? He can look to China as this model, which, there's a social compact in that country, right? We will give you prosperity, just don't ask for democracy. And so far, that's what's happened, right? We haven't seen an uprising against the Communist Party. You could say the same thing about Vietnam. Or does he have an attitude like the Cubans, which is, wow, the minute we see they, allow any kind of economic repression to lift, they get very nervous about what they see that happens in the population. So that's probably the way he's thinking about whether or not there's going to be economic advancement. Can I answer a little bit more about maybe what fell apart here today?
Yeah.
So we know from the special envoy on North Korea, who made a speech in January in Stanford, he said that Kim Jong-un had promised the dismantlement and the eradication of his uranium and plutonium enrichment. Okay, and that this summit was about what would the United States give in exchange for that. Kim Jong-un wanted a lifting of all the sanctions. But here's the thing, a nuclear program has two items to it, right? There's the ability to enrich, and then there's the missile capability. What I don't see here was any offer, any discussion about whether or not he would also give up the missile capability. If you want all of the sanctions lifted, you need all of that program to be eliminated, right? Both key components. So he's got to come back to the table with more if he's going to get that much from the United States.
That's a good point. Krishna, your thoughts on both what happened and the impact on what we do here, the markets?
Well, so I think from a geopolitical standpoint, all of this is very interesting. From a market's perspective, all of this is really, it's interesting, but it's really not that relevant. What's relevant for the market today are two things. Whether global growth is going to stabilize, and our expectation is things are going to stabilize in not too distant a future, and two, if we'll reach some sort of a trade deal. And I think on that front, this situation probably, in my judgment, improves the odds of reaching a settlement rather than reduces the odds of reaching a settlement. So if there is an impact of all of this on the markets, it's that I think the pressure is going to be intense on Trump as well as China to arrive at some sort of a settlement, and they know things are very fragile and they can break apart.
So will it be a settlement that both sides benefit from, or it'll just be a sort of a rubber stamp settlement, or
I mean, a settlement, a trade deal, I think, will benefit everyone, at least in the short to medium.
With no teeth?
Well, no, I think with Lighthizer there and people who are kind of really very well informed about these issues, I think the likelihood that it's some sort of just a Band-Aid thing, I don't think that's a real possibility. Having said that, I think getting all the things that the Trump administration wants is probably unrealistic as well. And I think this sort of frames things for them. That is, there has to be a give and take, and it has to be a long-term engagement rather than trying to find a settlement in one go.
Michelle, what do you think this means for the bigger? Is it really bigger? I mean, isn't that sick that we think so much about China and trade? It's like, okay, this nuclear thing might not work out, but what's it mean for our money? I mean, that's unfortunately, that really is how we think about it. So the bigger issue is whether there's going to be tariffs or not on this trade, not whether there's nuclear oblivion in our future. So but what do you think it means for China?
In terms of, I think it sends a signaling mechanism to China, right, that the United States is willing to walk away from a deal. I take the president and Secretary Pompeo at face value that they did not like this deal, and that's why they walked away. But a secondary consequence is that it sends a message to China as well that they can be tough. I would add the other market impact here that we should watch for is, what if the North Koreans decide that they're going to launch another missile? President Trump said today that Kim Jong-un promised that he would not launch another missile, that he would stop the testing. That's important for a couple of reasons. Why? A lot of the people who live in the region would be very relieved to not have missiles being shot, right, because they're the ones at risk. Also, every time they do not test, it retards the progress of their program, right? The reason they could have such an accelerated progress that was really breathtaking to inspectors all around the world was they were doing so much testing. So the stopping of testing, if that continues, that is good. What would be very market negative, I think, is if we did see a resumption in testing, because then you have to ask, what does the United States do in response to that?
I think it's a little too early for that to happen. I think a few more summits have to fail before they go down that path. I think in their judgment, this president is probably their best shot. This is the best opportunity they've had for a long time, so I think they'll stick with it longer. And launching missiles doesn't help. Testing missiles doesn't help.